Good day to all of you. Welcome to the undergraduate poster session of International Conference on Real Estate Management and Valuation 2022. This year we have 9 presenters presenting their posters covering wide array of topics including valuation, ICT, sustainable office spaces, land alienation, traffic congestion, and many more. So, without a further ado, let's move on to the first presenter of the day. Analysis of causes on traffic condition in a suburban area, case study in Ragama Town Centre, presented by Ms. Ayesha Dias. Ayesha, session is over to you.
Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting my study based on an analysis of causes on traffic condition in suburban area, case study related to the Ragama Town Centre. I'm Ayesha Dias. In briefing my study, it is indicated that heavy interrelated activities are frequently promoting the development of transport network in an area. Meanwhile, traffic congestion has become one of the lasting problems which bothers several countries and their day-to-day activities of individual society and the economy. Studies conducted on factors affecting traffic congestion do not cover suburban areas. Therefore, it is necessary to find out most influential factors on traffic congestion to mitigate traffic congestion by proposing probable solutions. The suburban area Ragama town is affected by many reasons for being a congested center significantly during peak hours. Many people discuss this matter in various ways, and there are many negative issues with the traffic congestion in case study area since it has become an unavoidable circumstance for the people who are crossing Ragama town. The study mainly focuses on analyzing the significant level of causes on traffic congestion under major influential aspects as physical, technical, social, and legal in the suburban area of Ragama town in Sri Lanka. When it comes to the methods of the study, population and sample, professionals' expertise in knowledge and experience about the case study area, the commuters who are passing throughout the Ragama town within 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., and data collection methods. A Likert scale questionnaire. 100 questionnaires were distributed among the commuters, whereas 70 responses were collected, and a semi-structured interview was conducted within 5 professionals. Data analysis methods, qualitative research methodology, they analyze the perspectives of professionals throughout a content analysis. Quantitative research methodology, they analyze the perspectives of commuters with a mean value comparison and a correlation analysis. When relating to the table 1, there are correlation between waiting time and the independent variables has been indicated. There, waiting time was more moderately positively related to physical and technical issues than to social issues and strongly negatively related to legal issues. When it comes to the table 2, there the results of qualitative research methodology have been indicated. There, majority of the professionals who have participated in the in-depth interview had expressed that there are more physical and technical issues within Ragama town than to social and legal issues. There, they have identified the absence of a main bus stand, road network system and traffic control system, pedestrian crossings and railway crossing issues, and the lack of proper parking areas and issues with road maintenance. These issues were categorized under the physical and technical issues. These are the images of existing traffic congestion in Ragama town center, and this map is a Google Earth map which was extracted, and here the Ragama railway station is indicated. These 3 main points are highly traffic congested points during peak hours. This white line indicates the flyover of Ragama town center, which is indicated in the middle of the town. Therefore, according to the results of the analysis, it is indicated that both qualitative and quantitative results were equal, and it is shown physical and technical issues are the main contributory factors which are affecting the Ragama town center being a traffic congested city. The existing traffic congestion within Ragama town center can be mitigated by implementing a multimodal transportation hub. Therefore, that will ultimately decrease the consequences of physical and technical issues within Ragama town. Therefore, the existing traffic congestion can be mitigated by easily. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ayesha. The next poster is on impact of information and communication technology on operational efficiency of supermarkets in Colombo district, Sri Lanka, presented by Mr. Chaman Hashin Bandar. The session is over to you.
A very good day for all of you. I'm Chamal Bandara, and my research study is about impact of information and communication technology on operational efficiency of supermarkets in Colombo district, Sri Lanka. As you all know, the Sri Lankan economy is moving to urbanized manufacturing and service-focused economy. So the use of technology has increased, especially ICT. And when it comes to the supermarket industry, ICT has influenced in different tasks at different levels on different social sectors. So yes, there are ICT applications in supermarkets. Yes, there are impacts, but the actual impact of each of the ICT applications on different social sectors has to be identified, and that's what I have done through this research study. And for this research study, I mainly based on the 6 key main supermarket chains in Sri Lanka. And when it comes to the methods of my research study, I mainly used 4 specific objectives. And in the first 3 specific objectives, I have measured the impact of information and communication technology on service providers and on customers, and finally on the neighborhood in terms of planning and transportation. And in the final specific objective, I analyzed the impact of ICT on the operational efficiency of supermarkets. And I mainly used a purpose sampling method and convenience sampling method, where I have interviewed 6 outlet managers and 3 real estate managers, and also I have questioned 200 customers. And for the data analysis method, I mainly used content analysis and distributed statistical analysis such as means, percentages, and frequencies. When it comes to the results of my study, in the first table, I have explained the impact of ICT of supermarkets on service providers. So the managers of the supermarkets have explained that from each of these ICT applications, the service quality has been achieved, and also from the majority of these ICT applications, sales and the service efficiency has been increased. And they have also further explained that from some of these ICT applications, the cost and the complexity of the task has been reduced. And when it comes to the ICT application perspective, the barcode scanning machine, the credit card swiping machine, and also the checkout free concept has achieved all of the above mentioned impact attributes. And in the next section, I have explained the impact of ICT on neighborhood in terms of planning and transportation. So the real estate managers has explained that to get the maximum out of the ICT applications in supermarket, the smart city concept has to be implemented so that the collected data can be transferred into a more centralized system, and that data can be analyzed and make better decisions related to planning, especially to control the traffic and to achieve sustainable urban planning, and finally to achieve sustainable development as well. And when it comes to the effect on real estate sector, in short term there won't be that much effect, but in long term there will be an effect, because there will be a portion where the conventional sales will decrease, where the online sales will increase more than the level of conventional sales. So at that time, the sizes of the supermarket, especially the car parks, will be reduced, and also in the meantime, the sizes of the warehouses will also be increased. But as a conclusion, I can say that for the size, there won't be much effect, but still there will be a very minimal reduction of the sizes. But especially when it comes to the type, the real estate type will be changed from retail real estate to industrial real estate. So that's the conclusion of the effects of real estate sector. And in this section, I have explained the impact of supermarkets in Colombo district on customers, where the blue-colored ICT applications are the ICT applications where customers has the highest awareness. And I mainly used a scale from 5 to 0, where 5 means the highest impacted ICT applications. So from this table, you can identify that the credit card swiping machine is the ICT application which has the highest impact on customers. And apart from that, e-commerce, barcode scanning machines, electronic point of sales, social medias has also affected on customers. And in the final section of my research study, I have explained the impact of information and communication technology on operational efficiency of supermarkets from two perspectives. So the service providers perspective, they have explained that the operation, the cost on operation, the cost on employees, the time required for task will be reduced, and also the convenience, the service quality, the product quality, the customer satisfaction has also increased due to the ICT applications. And when it comes to the customer's perspective, the time to identify products, the time to serve customers, time spent on checkout has been massively reduced, and also the service quality and the convenience has been increased rapidly. So that's all I have for today, and these are my key references in the study, and hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next poster is presented by Ms. Deepthi Purnima on strategies adopted in promoting green building technology in Sri Lanka with special reference to the Western Province. Ms. Deepthi, the session is over to you.
Have a nice day, everyone. I'm Deepthi Purnima for the research presentation on strategies adopted in promoting green building technology in Sri Lanka with special reference to the Western Province. Day by day, the negative impacts to the environment have been increasing, especially with the urbanization, industrialization, and the growth of the construction industry. So, with the effects from the conventional buildings have more for these negative impacts. That is why green buildings are the most appropriate replacement to the conventional buildings, and they always encourage the sustainable development. Green buildings can be identified as the great solution for these negative impacts. So it can be defined as the practice of constructing structures and applying processes that are environmentally responsible and resource efficient throughout the life cycle of the building. Most of the developing countries, including Sri Lanka, pay very less attention on the promoting green building technology. It is very few promotion strategies can be identified. So that is the reason to identify strategies in promoting green building technology within Sri Lanka. Special reference we adhere into the Western province. As the general objective to examine strategies adopted in promoting green building technology in Sri Lanka and identify the barriers and the evaluation of the identified strategies as identified as the specific objectives for this research. When moving down to the methods, mainly use the qualitative approach, and the semi-structured interview had done with the green associated professionals and non-green associated professionals in the construction industry within the Western province, Sri Lanka. As it can be identified as the primary source, and for the secondary source, referring to the literature. Using the content analysis method and the thematic analysis technique, analyze the collected data. So then to identify, to get the results. Then we can identify 6 barriers, accordingly 8 strategies as the most efficient strategies can be identified as implement effective awareness programs, introduce financial aids at the initial stage of the construction, implement powerful government policies and regulations. In this chart also shows that what the green building, what the construction industry professionals say that, and what is the majority, what are the efficiency of these strategies, we can identify in this graph. So also we identified 6 barriers. These barriers will help to identify strategies. While Sri Lanka arising rapid urban growth, the Western province is the main urban growth point in Sri Lanka. So the green buildings, in this context, green buildings play a vital role in the sustainable development. The barriers of the green building implementation made easy to identify strategies adopted in promoting green building technology. So all identified strategies can be used in practically, but the need is the more powerful, enthusiastic implementation body, maybe government-wise or non-government-wise, should be powerful one. It have to be more influenceable. So last, I have to say that as the result shows, it's important to increase the awareness of people even in the school level, and have to financial aid should be provided to the interested parties in the initial stage in green building constructions. Government as the responsible body can make significant involvement to the green building promoting process. This research assistance on policymakers, industry practitioners and stakeholders and who are the interested persons on promoting green building technology in Sri Lanka. It will help to achieve the sustainable development as well as make to the world in green. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next presenter is Mr. Jude Nelson Vijayaratne, presenting on analysis of traffic congestion in Kurunegala Municipal Council area. The session is over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Jude Nelson. I'm going to discuss the analysis of traffic congestion in the Kurunegala Municipal Council area, which I have done as my final year research. Traffic congestion is a serious problem facing almost every country in the world. Every year, fuel, time, as well as human labor are wasted due to traffic congestion. Traffic congestion also causes environmental damages such as air pollution and noise pollution. Due to this, many countries around the world have been adapting to various alternatives to solve the problem of traffic congestion. In the Sri Lankan context, Kurunegala town is a rapidly developing city and is located at the center of the road connecting the north and south of the country. The main focus of this study was to identify the causes of traffic congestion in Kurunegala town. The catchment area of Kurunegala town is shown in this picture. Kurunegala city is connecting to Colombo, Kandy, Matale, Puttalam, Trincomalee, Negombo, Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, and Kegu. Kurunegala city is a transport hub connecting north and south of the country and situated near to the center of the country. Under the methods of study, Kurunegala town area was used as population and data collected in 5 days at main junction of the town was the sample of the study. Both primary and secondary data was gathered, and primary data was gathered using observation, traffic survey, and photograph survey. And secondary data was collected from Kurunegala Police Station Traffic Division, RD Office Kurunegala, and UD Office. Data analysis was done using quantitative approach and descriptive analysis. When I discuss the result of the study, figure 1 shows the type of transportation mode used in the town. 65% of transportation mode is public buses, both general and luxury, and 18.9% recorded as circulating population of the city. 15.6% of type transportation mode used in private vehicles, and only 0.5% of the population used train as transportation mode. Figure 2 shows the number of accidents occurred during the year 2020. According to the figure 2, 38.5% of vehicle accident in Kurunegala city was recorded as a serious accident in the year 2020, and it was the highest type of accident reported in that year. 27.9% of accidents that reported as accident with damages, and 24.2% of accidents were reported as accident with minor injuries, and 9.4% as major accident. When I talk about the major time period of accidents in Kurunegala town, the result found the most accident time in the town. Those are from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And most traffic congestion time in the town are from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. and from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Accordingly, both accident time and traffic congestion time in the city are the same time period. Identified main traffic causes of the Kurunegala town are increasing the number of vehicles passing through the city. Kurunegala Government Teaching Hospital is located in the city. Daily population attend to the tuition classes. Population coming to government agencies, lack of parking facilities, and lack of bypass road in the city. The Google map image shows the main traffic point in the town area. They are Puttalam Junction, near Kurunegala Police Station, Kadurugas Junction, Dumble Road Bus Stand, Kurunegala Clock Tower, and near to the Kurunegala Cinema Hall. After analyzing the collected data, several traffic solutions were proposed in the discussion. They are development of bypass road. Most of bypass road in the town area are in good condition. Then I propose to develop those mentioned roads on this Google map image. And integration of Kurunegala railway station and bus stand. Both places are located far away distance in the town, hence I propose integration. Other solutions are scheduled traffic light system, promote public transport, design of a flyover near to Muttattugal railway station, provide adequate parking facilities. By implementing them, traffic congestion in the town can be reduced. In a conclusion, in this study, the traffic causes in the Kurunegala town were identified and proposed solutions to reduce traffic congestion. The study's results may be significant for future researchers and persons who study traffic congestion in Kurunegala town. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Next, we have Mr. Naveen Hippola presenting on empirical study on Sri Lankan valuers' perspective on mitigating material uncertainty in valuation. The session is over to you.
Hi, my name is Municipal and I am here to present about my independent research which I was done in my final year. My research title is about empirical study on Sri Lankan values perspective on mitigating material uncertainty in valuation. So let's have a brief about my independent research. As we all know, the valuation is a profession which estimates a value with relevant market factors, but these market factors tends to be changed, and it's difficult to give a certain amount to the subject property as well. Therefore, RICS has been given some guidelines regarding the valuation process, but still there might be uncertainties and some might be material as well. Normally, material uncertainty can happen due to government policies, pandemic situations, or in market regulations, etc. The research method have been categorized into 5 different sections for our ease: research approach, design, population, sampling technique, and sample size. In the research approach, quantitative and qualitative type of questionnaires have been added to the Google Forms to identify the mitigation process and material uncertainty factors. And also to identify the population, I have been carried out the analysis, and my population were identified from RICS and IVS members in Sri Lanka. From my analysis, I have identified 828 RICS and IVS members in Sri Lanka. As the population is finite, I have used simple random sampling technique, which gives an equal chance to select from the finite population. The sample size was derived from the given formula as at a proportion of population 50%. Before moving on to the analysis, let's have a brief about the demographic information. A total of 55 responses have been collected from the sample size, and 65.5% of them were male and rest were female. And 41 to 50 is the highest age limit that were in the responses, and 70.9% of them have a bachelor's degree as well. 83.6% of respondents have IVS membership, while 18.2% of them will have RICS membership as well. So when we move on to the analysis, I have conducted the factor analysis. So main 3 factors have been identified from the literature review: pandemic situation, valuation assumptions, and the client influence. So before moving on to the factor analysis, we need to identify the adequacy of those 3 factors. So I have conducted sampling adequacy and significance level. So in the sampling adequacy, the normal cutoff point should be more than 0.5. So according to my analysis, it gives a value of 0.566. The significant level should be less than 0.05. So in my analysis, it gives a value of 0.047. So we can move forward to the factor analysis. Total variances have been taken. So the cutoff point have been taken as 0.8. So in my analysis, it gives the values, the pandemic situation, valuation assumptions, gives a significance, while client influence does not. So to confirm it, we have been conduct the cumulative test as well. The cutoff point have been taken as 0.3, and according to the cumulative test, pandemic situation, valuation assumption gives a significant, while client influence does not. So moving on to the mitigation procedures in material uncertainty, most of the respondents in a view to create a transparent digital and database which needed to be updated regularly. And also in the second process, second one, identification of the valuation process and follow the guidelines provided by the RICS. For an example, inspection process needs to be done according to guidelines provided by the RICS. And also third one, always back to assumption which actual market transaction. And fourth and fifth one is to identify long-term behaviors and compare trends of the present and past transaction, such as rentals and rate of return, etc. So this is my research. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.
Thank you. The next session is on impact of sustainable office workplace on employee satisfaction in selected banks within Gampaha district, Sri Lanka, presented by Ms. Nilakshi Shashikala Pereira. The session is over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm GNS Pereira, and with the research title of Impact of Sustainable Office Workplace on Employee Satisfaction in Selected Banks within Gampaha District, I proceed the research. Today, because of rapid change happening in the world, our world is changed day by day. So organizations have to think critically about their own sustainability when designing their office workplace. With the main general objective, here proceed for specific objectives as to identify the existing physical factors, to examine the level of adaptation, to measure the employee satisfaction, to identify the areas to be modified as sustainable workplace in office workplace. In here, the data collection mainly done to the primary data and secondary data. The primary data collected through depth interview as well as structured questionnaire. Structured questionnaire done with the selected banks employees and the sample size is 50. Then the depth interview done with the managerial level workers at the here 6 interviews conducted. Data analysis part mainly done with the SPS software, and it finally identify the ANOVA test to find the variance between independent and dependent variable. Here independent variables having 3, and first one, develop environmental and risk management policy, create environmental management programs, promote green economic growth strategies, while identified employee satisfaction and the dependent variable. When moved to the results of the research, I can able to identify the all equal distribution with male and female category, and can able to find all age level of response for this study. When moved to the Gampha district, here consists 13 DS division, and I can cover the all DS divisions while getting informations with response, while covering 14 banks including government and public banks. In here, identify, develop environmental and risk management policy as the main key thing, while 48% of the response suggests that it's a riddle. Then the second 32% of the response suggests that create environmental management programs as the main thing. When moved to the indoor and outdoor quality of the environment, 60% of the response happy with their indoor quality environment. Only 48% of the response suggests that they are happy with their outdoor quality environment. When moved to the quantitative method data analysis, in here identified variance analysis done with 3 independent variable with the dependent variable. In here identify there is a positive relationship between sustainable office workplace with employee satisfaction. When moved to the qualitative method data analysis, in here mainly identify there is a lack of knowledge regarding the sustainability in government banks rather than the private banks, because they are aware of the sustainability and sustainability banking initiatives. Then in the discussion, the first objective is identified in the develop environmental and risk management policy, aesthetic pleasing, current maintenance policies, necessary equipment for performing tasks, lightning and noise, COVID-19 physical maintenance policies. These 3 variables identified in the Sustainable Banking Initiative, which was conducted by the leading with the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. In the level of satisfaction, in here identified only 48% of the response satisfactory level with the outdoor environment, and there is a consideration regarding the outdoor quality of the environment. To measure the employee satisfaction, in here identified the interview done with the managerial level workers, work performance, productivity, and employee comfort are the main 3 vital factors. Because of the COVID-19 situation, most of the managers suggest that create health and safety measures is enhanced physical environment is more important. In the discussion, direction to the future issues, the increase the sample size, both qualitative and quantitative method, consider other variables rather than these independent variables, because in here having 11 principles under the Sustainable Banking Initiative, in here selected only 3 which impact on the physical environment. When the limitations of this study limited secondary data is the first one, and the COVID-19 pandemic and technical issues are the main thing. And these are the references I found the information gathered into this.
Now we have Ms. Shehani Kaushalya Gamage presenting on implementing DCF method of valuation for valuing income producing properties in Sri Lanka, a Delphi study.
A very good day to all of you. I am Shehani Gamage, is here to present my independent research study under the title of Implementing DCF Method of Valuation for Valuing Income Producing Properties in Sri Lanka, a Delphi study. By 2020, when considering the economic policy of Sri Lanka and the local development plans and the establishment of REITs are proved that there is a trend of increasing income producing properties in Sri Lankan market. At that time, the need of having a proper valuation guidance which could able to absorb the fluctuations of market dynamics are highly essential. At that time, DCF method or the discounted cash flow method came to discussion. But the thing is, implementation of DCF method is not that much popular in the developing countries like Sri Lanka. So, through my research study, I just want to identify the level of applicability of the DCF and to identify what are the most appropriate ways of implementing DCF method for valuing income producing properties in Sri Lankan context. Then, to have more accurate and more reliable data, I considered industry experts whom qualified with either RICS or IVSL as my sample. In order to collect data, I used mixed methodology, which consists of questionnaires and the structured interviews. And I just need to verify the data which I gathered from one round to make it more reliable and more accurate. So for that, I considered 20 industry experts in my first round and 22 industry experts in my second round. So when thinking about the methodology which could fulfill all this requirement, Delphi method came to my mind. And then I used Delphi method for my further study purpose. When it comes to the data analysis, under the first Delphi iteration, I use mean and the ranking for refined quantitative data and content analysis for qualitative data to identify the challenges that exist in the implementation of DCF method in Sri Lankan context. Under the second Delphi iteration, I used mean, standard deviation and the ranking to identify for the refined quantitative data and content analysis for refined qualitative data to identify what are the most appropriate ways of implementing DCF method of valuation for valuing income producing properties in Sri Lanka. So when it comes to my findings, first I identified what are the key challenges that for the implementation of DCF method in Sri Lanka. I used to identify it under two factors. They are data bound factors and value bound factors. Under the data bound factors, for example, the difficulty of reliable data accessibility, difficulty of identifying the accurate way of calculating factors of DCF, like that. And under the value bound factors, there were like complexity of the structure, ethical issues, market issues, so on. And when it comes to the most important findings of my research study, which is the adaptation of the DCF method of valuation for valuing income producing properties in the Sri Lankan context, I identified those findings under key factors of other key items, key factors of DCF, which are the type of cash flow, explicit forecasting period, cash flow forecast, terminal value, and the discounted rate. For example, if I'm taken under the type of cash flow, the most appropriate cash flow type, according to the opinion of the majority of the industry experts, are the total cash flow. And under the explicit forecasting period, the purpose of the valuation is the valuation for investment appraisal, and the explicit forecast period is cash flow for 10 years time. And then under the cash flow frequency, it's annual. And under the terminal value, it's market approach. Under the discounted rate, it's yield construction, which comes from the opinion of the majority of the industry experts, which are as the most appropriate ways. for implementing DCF method in Sri Lankan context. Apart from that, to finding opportunities to gain knowledge and training of DCF, the most suitable way is to start it from the initial stage, which is a bachelor stage, according to the industry experts' opinion. And then when come to compare the international practice with the suggested implementation of DCF method to the Sri Lankan context, I was able to identify that, for example, under the purpose of valuation, in UK, North America, New Zealand, they are using DCF for investment purpose, which is similar to the Sri Lankan context as well. When it comes to the cash flow frequency, in New Zealand, they are using monthly cash flows, which is somewhat different from the Sri Lankan practice. But in the UK, they are using annual cash flows, which is equal to the Sri Lankan practice. And then explicit forecasting period in New Zealand, they are using 10 years time, but in which is equal to the Sri Lankan context. But in UK, they are using 25 which is different from the Sri Lankan context. So for the future studies, I would like to recommend to conduct the future studies not only from the data and or the value end, but only from the investment client perspective as well. So these are the key references that I have used for my research study. That's all I have got for today. Thank you for listening to me and have a pleasant day.
Thank you. Ms. Sumudhu Mangala Jayewardenepura will be next presenting on the impact of gem mining activities to the land and host land value, a case study of Ratnapura. The session is over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Sumudhu Mangala. Today my focus is to discuss the impact of gem mining activities to the land and host land value, which has done as a case study of Ratnapura. As you know, most of the countries in the world have sustained with the valuable mineral resources like diamond, gold, gems, platinum, and many others. Those mineral resources have evoked a conventional value to the land. In this context, Sri Lanka has famous for gem industry since ancient period of time. Especially where gems like the star sapphire, ruby, garnet, and many other valuable gemstones can be found in Sri Lanka. In this nature, Sri Lanka has known as the land of sapphire and gem mining since past. The final output of burnished gemstone cannot be obtained easily. For that, gem miners have to escape the land using different types of gem mining techniques. Traditionally, Sri Lankan gem miners practice both land gem mining techniques and river gem mining techniques. Since my main focus is to identify the impact of gem mining activities to the land, I have selected only the land gem mining techniques of tunnel gem mining and backhoe gem mining. Tunnel gem mining is concentrated with the human power and practiced over 1,000 years ago. The backhoe gem mining is introduced very recently to Sri Lankan gem miners as an efficient method of excavation land for gem mining activities. Although gem industry generated huge economic benefits to the country, opposite side there is the impact on environment, society, and health. By taking this into consideration, I have identified number of impacts which cause to reduction of the value of land. When you consider the methodology of conducting this research, the sample of this research consists in 15 gem mining land, and the data collected through field survey and structured interview was conducted with Regional Development Observer, National Gem and Jewellery Authority to identify the regulatory framework of gem industry in Sri Lanka. All the collected data have analyzed using narrative analysis of qualitative data, and this is method. In the picture shown in the middle, you can identify what are the impact that I have identified during my inspection, and where the impacts are occur in the life cycle of gem mine. Normally, loss of fertility is the natural landscape of land, therefore erosion, the risk of subsidence, impact to the bearing capacity of the soil, deforestation, and pollution of groundwater and surface water can be identified major impact of gem mining activities to the land. And when we consider the life cycle of the gemstone, at the first stage of excavation the land, refining the gems ore, and first stage of non-process of the mine are major stages where these impacts are occur. When you consider how those impacts are cause reduction of the value of the land, once the buyer came to inspect the land physically, When they experience those impacts, they reject to purchase those land or offer a low value to the land, especially due to the reduction of the value determinant of a property, which are utility, desire, scarcity, and effective purchasing power. As in conclusion, I can say most of the land that are used for gem mining activities is not suitable for development activities. But some can argue that those land are suitable for agricultural activities. It is good rather than doing nothing. But it is necessary to rehabilitate those land before using agricultural activities. And other important thing is that it is necessary to introduce a standard regulatory framework to regulate the gem industry in Sri Lanka to mitigate those impacts. I think it's time to wind up my presentation, and thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you. As the final poster presentation, we have Ms. Tushani Ratnamalala presenting on consequences of state land alienation program in Sri Lanka. The session is over to you.
Have a nice day, everyone. I am Tushani Ratnamalala. My research presentation is about consequences of the state land alienation program in Sri Lanka. Land alienation programs are launched by the government to provide land to the landless people and who lost their land due to development activities. Mahavali Irrigation Settlement Scheme also one of the alienation program implemented by Mahavali Authority in Sri Lanka in dry zone, because there are a lot of uncultivated lands were available in this area. According to the local literature and initial interviews were reviewed that there are various issues in currently. However, to date, there is little evidence about research findings regarding the most significant issue of the state land alienation program in Sri Lanka. Hence, this research focused on identifying the most significant issue from the point of professional and inhabitant view related to the Nochiagama Irrigation Settlement Scheme. This is Nochiagama Divisional Secretariat area. It is the case study of my research. This section shows the methods are used for collect data. The population of the research is to consider under two categories. They are professionals and inhabitants. Among the professional population, 5 professionals selected those who highly dealing with land alienation program using convenient sampling method. A multi-stage sampling technique is applied to the inhabitants. The qualitative and quantitative data collection methods are used as the basic source of data collection. Primary data and secondary data can be obtained by using both methods. This section comprises with the analysis of the land issues in Nochiagama Irrigation Settlement Scheme. Both quantitative and qualitative analysis methods are used for this analysis. First method is qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis refer to content analysis with using data by using in-depth interviews from different professionals related to Mahavali area. They are agriculture officer, agrarian service development officer, unit officer, land officer, and Grama Niladhari respectively. Table 1 shows the summary of the officer's point of view. User can easily identify what are the issues commonly always reported for the officers by correct mark. By green highlight shows the most reported issue among the social issues, environmental, economic, and political issues to each officer. As the above qualitative analysis display, the most significant issue is social issue in this area in professional perspective. A quantitative analysis is done by the responses of inhabitants of Mahavali area to enhance the validity of the result. According to the correlation analysis shows the relationship between the land and social issues. Land issues variable is the dependent variable and social issue variable is the independent variable. The correlation between the social and land issue was statistically significant at the 0.000 level with the Pearson correlation coefficient of plus 0.858. It shows that there is a strong positive correlation between social and land issues. According to the regression analysis, it is concluded that social issues have a strong positive relationship than political issues between the dependent variable of the issues and independent variable are social political issues. Regression analysis shows that social issues are the most significant issue in Nochiagam irrigation settlement scheme. In summary, the study of consequences of state land alienation program in Sri Lanka focused on the land issues which are suffered by inhabitants. Land issues are mainly considered as the social, economic, environmental, and political issues. Finally, quantitative and qualitative findings happen to most same. So both quantitative and qualitative analysis method tally with each results. And the both approaches shows the same results. Hence, we come to the bottom as social issues are the most significant issue in the state land alienation program in the time of the overall research. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the presenters on their insightful and valuable presentations. Moving on to the review, we have invited two distinguished panelists as reviewers. Dr. Shashikala Subhashini, Senior Lecturer, Department of Information Technology, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and Dr. Ms. Vilani Sachitra, Senior Lecturer, Department of Commerce, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Firstly, we are moving with the comments and feedbacks from Dr. Vilani Sachitra.
Good day to you all. And I'm Vilani Sachitra. And first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to review the poster sessions of 6th International Conference on Real Estate Management and Valuation, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. So I had an opportunity to review 9 presentations. So I will give individual presentation review very shortly and will give the overall comment for the 9th presentation. So presentation 1 presented by Mr. Vijayaratna regarding the traffic congestion in Kurunegala Municipal Council, and he had done a satisfactory job with the presentation. A few concern about the poster presentation. One is, as he mentioned about the observation data. However, there is no findings or no discussion about the observation data and the traffic survey data in the poster presentation. And also what he found from the study regarding the main traffic causes, those are already known factors. So what might be learned from your study as a new factor, it's some sort of lacking in the presentation. And also when he proposed about the traffic solutions, you have to be very careful with the those proposals, because there are some sort of cost incurred as well as other benefit and other influences to the society and economic factors you need to be concerned. So overall, it is a good presentation, very confident with the presentation, and I wish you good luck with his further study. And the presentation number 2 presented by Ms. Nilakshi regarding the sustainable office workplace. And first of all, I would like to say she has done the presentation with very confident, and it seems that she practiced well before doing the presentation, because it shows throughout the presentation. She has done her homework very well, and that is a good sign with the undergraduate for their future career. And overall, in the presentation content, it is better to define what is the sustainable office place mean from the beginning of the presentation. Otherwise, audience might get misled with what she is trying to say. And how you are going to measure this sustainable office place, that also questionable in the presentation. But overall, Ms. Nilakshi has done a very satisfactory job. And presentation number 3 is regarding the strategic adopted in promoting green building technology, and it was presented by Ms. Purnima. And it also seems that she also missed to define what is mean by green building technology, because as a layman or as a audience who did not know anything about the green building technology, through your presentation, you should be able to show what is the meaning of this green building technology, and able to understand other persons what is the importance of your study. So that part is lacking, and all over the presentation, I observe that there is a lack of practice in the presentation. So that is not good sign for the undergraduate, because when you are doing something, you need to be practiced, and you need to show your confidence throughout your presentation. That part is somewhat missing in the presentation number 3. And the methodology section also not presented well, because that is the heart of your study, and you have to give more weight with the methodology section. And overall presentation number 4, that was presented by Mr. Chaman, and that is regarding the impact of information and communication technology on operational efficiency of supermarket. And so overall, he has done a satisfactory job, but regarding the what we might learn from the study is somewhat lacking. That means what customers and supermarket can learn from your study is some sort of missing part in your post presentation. In other words, your implications are not presented very well at the end of the presentation, because every presentation has to show your value, your contribution to the society, or to the knowledge, or to the scholarly work. So that part is somewhat missing in the presentation number 4. And next, the presentation number 5, this is regarding empirical study on Sri Lankan valuers perspective, and it was presented by Mr. Naveen. And when the beginning of the presentation, the research problem is not somewhat clear. Why we need to conduct this study is not properly presented. So you have to be very careful with that content, because every study needs to have a uniqueness when you are doing the presentation. So you have to show that your study is unique and it is important to conduct. So that content is missing in the presentation number 5. And therefore, what might be learned from your study is somewhat questionable. That is about the presentation number 5. And let me go to the presentation number 6. This is about the DCF method, and presented by Mr. Shihani. And first of all, I want to say that your research problem justification and your presenting about why this study is required to conduct is very clear. So you show very confident with your study, and you give a very good message to the audience and as well as the respective scholars. Your study is important with different aspects. So that part you have scored really well, and good luck with that presentation skill you have. And another thing is, don't use abbreviation into the title, because if someone doesn't know about the respective discipline, so that person might be getting misled, because DFC, you have to show what is that like a discounted cash flow, you have to mention in the title it very clearly. But overall, your presentation is very good. You practice it very well and you show confidence in a very good level regarding your study. And the presentation number 7, this is regarding again the traffic congestion in Ragama district. And as I mentioned about the presentation number 1 as well, it is questionable about how you collect data, because you mentioned that you collect data from commuters who are passing through the Ragama town within 7 to 9 a.m. or 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. We know that this is a very peak time, and it is very difficult to contact the people because all of them are rushing with their working and with their whatever the activities they have. So it is little bit doubt how you are able to collect 70 questions through the audience or through the respondents like this. And as I mentioned about the first presentation, these factors, these findings are also already known factors. So what is new from your finding is some sort of lacking in your presentation, but overall, you have done a good job with your study. And the presentation number 8, this is again regarding the gem mining activities. And as I mentioned earlier again, Ms. Sumudu has done a very good confidence, or she shows good confidence regarding her problem justification. Her problem justification is very clear, and I'm really happy about how she shows that her study is important to the knowledge. And she practiced very well. She saw very confidence throughout the presentation, and that would be the good sign for the undergraduates for their future career. And the last presentation, this is regarding the consequences of state land alienations presented by Ms. Tushani. And again, this presentation also questionable with why we need to conduct this study. That question is not answered throughout your presentation. So what might be learned from the study is missing through the presentation. But overall, it is good, your presentation. I'm satisfied with the presentation. And other thing is, your quantitative analysis is not somewhat clear. So you have to pay that attention if you are going with the further publication. And the overall summary, I would like to say, very good performance shown by these undergraduates, and we are really happy as an academic to see those kind of talented undergraduate showing their skills and ability to conduct in research. So they show confidence, and they seems, majority of the presentation seems they are doing well practices, and those are very good signs with the undergraduates' skills. And other thing you all need to remember is when you are doing the presentation, always assuming that the audience is general. That means they don't know anything about your content or anything about your discipline. Therefore, always be simple when you are doing the presentation and try to make convince that your study is important to conduct. So those are the overall comment regarding the 9th presentation I have. And I would like to thank you again for this conference and chair of the conference to giving us this wonderful opportunity to review the poster presentation. And I wish you very good luck for the undergraduate, their future endeavors. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Dr. Villani, for your valuable feedback. Next, Dr. Shashikala Subhashini will be reviewing the undergraduate poster presentations. Doctor, the session is over to you.
I am Shashikala Subhashini. First of all, I would like to thank Department of Estate Management and Valuation for inviting me to evaluate the 6th International Conference on Real Estate Management and Valuation. So I had a chance to evaluate 9 presentations. So I would like to give an overall comment as well as individual comments for each presentation. Okay, the first presentation about analysis of traffic congestion in Kurunegala. So this is presented by Mr. Vijayaratna. So I have evaluated his presentation. He had done a satisfactory work. So, however, I didn't found any discussion about the observation data and traffic survey data. The factors he found already known. So what is the new here? The contribution is not clear. So you need to think about the improvements of how, considering the other factors as well, how to define new factors, so new things, the new contribution. So we need to rethink. Okay. So the next one is about impact of sustainable office workplace on employee satisfaction in selected banks, presented by Ms. Pereira. So this presentation is very good, okay, but you need to define what is sustainable office workplace and how you are going to measure this. Okay, this is the lacking part here. So we need to think about the definition of sustainable office workplace. The third presentation about strategies adapted in promoting green building technology. This is presented by Ms. Purnima. So here also I found that the definition of green building technology. Okay, so you need to define what is green building technology. And the contribution also lacking here. So you need to think about the presentation skills. This is not in satisfactory level. Think about the improvement, practice well, okay. Also the methodology part is not well defined. So this is very important, the methodology in the research. So you need to rethink about the rewriting the methodology as well. Okay, the next presentation is about impact of information and communication technology on operation efficiency of supermarket. This is presented by Mr. Bandara. So he has done a satisfactory job, but what is the significance? Who get benefit? The customers, manufacturers, supermarket. So the significance is not clear. Okay, so think about the significance and you need to define the significance. Okay, so you can do the improvements. The next presentation about empirical study on Sri Lankan valuation perspective. This is on regards to the mitigating material. This is presented by Mr. Hippola. So in here, this is the research problem is not clear why you are doing this. Okay, so you need to justify using literature what is the problem and what is the problem that you are going to solve. So you need to define using literature. Okay, the research problem is not clear here. The presentation is satisfactory level. So think about the improvements as well. The next is about implementing DCF methods of valuation for valuing income, presented by Shehani Kaushalyagamage. So very good presentation, Shehani. So well written, the research problem is very clear. So she has done a very good job here with all the justifications and very good. Okay, so you can go move towards with your research as well. Good luck for you, Shehani. The next is about analysis of causes on traffic congestion in suburban area. This is presented by Ms. Dias. So in this research, the presentation skills, you need to work more to improve your presentation skills, okay? And the factors that you found is already known. What is the new here? What is the contribution is, I'm wondering. And also the collecting of data is doubtful. How you collect this data, okay? So within that period, how you collect the data, and so I'm wondering about that, okay? So identify the contribution very well, and so you need to do more work on this research, okay, if you decided to move with the research. The next is about impact of the gem mining. This is presented by Somudu. So this is very well written and also very good presentation skills as well. The problem identification, contribution, and the significance is very clear. Good luck, Smudhu, so you can be able to move with your research. Okay, the next is about consequence of state land alienation program. This is in regards to Sri Lanka. So this is presented by Tushani, Ms. Tushani. So you need to work more on your identification of the research problem, the contribution. However, she is in the satisfactory level. Okay, so this is the individual feedback. So the overall summary, so I would like to say that the 9 presentation, the good presentation, out of 9, I found that the 3 presentations are very good with all the justifications, and the contribution is very clear, the significance is very clear. The most of the presentation lacking justification of the research problem identification, and also the contribution is lack. And also you need to work more on identify the significance of this, why we are doing this research. Okay, so once again I would like to thank to invite me to evaluate these 9 presentations. Thank you very much, and good luck for your future research. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sashikala. Now we are moving towards the announcement of the best 3 poster presentations. Congratulations. The 3rd place goes to Ms. Nilakshi Shashikala Pereira, and the best poster award goes to 2 of the presenters, Ms. Sumudhu Mangala Jayawardene and Ms. Shehani Kaushalya Gamage. Congratulations again for all the winners and all the presenters who took part in undergraduate poster session of International Conference on Real Estate Management and Valuation 2022. That concludes the poster session, and thank you all for joining with us. Hope to see you in the academic session. Have a nice day.